If you try to do something without at least sitting down and putting some thought into it, what needs to be done, why does it need to be done, what is the goals that I hope to accomplish, why should I do it, why shouldn't I do it, is it morally right, is it morally wrong, whatever you have to do, if you don't sit down and think the thing out, whether it be your finances, your family, just doesn't matter what the issue is. If there's no philosophy driving what you're doing, then it's going to turn into chaos, and survival is no different from that. If you don't have a philosophy behind your survival, your home defense, any of those things, you're not going to have very much success. You're not going to be prepared once you begin to survive in the wilderness or from a plane crash or in a civil situation like unrest. You're just not going to have a very easy time of things. Philosophy helps you prepare mentally. Practical application helps you to prepare physically. And so not only do you have to have some ideas in your head, you have to go out and practice those ideas, whether it's in the city, whether it's in the wilderness. It doesn't make any difference. You can get on YouTube or television and watch a survival program and get all the ideas that you want. But until you apply those things practically, physically, hands-on experience, those things are just ideas, and they're not going to work out like they look on television, and they're not going to work out like you thought in your head. So philosophy, you need to sit down and think some things out, get the things straight in your head, and then go and apply those things out in the woods or out in the city. It doesn't make any difference where you're trying to survive. Apply those things and see what works and see what doesn't. Situations will dictate whether a thing works or not. One technique will work perfectly until you try it in a different environment or in a different place, and it may not work out for you. You're not always going to be able to catch fish. You can catch 100 fish one day and no fish for the next 3 or 4 days. So there's a lot of things that you have to be pretty sure about before you go out and try to start surviving. It is a philosophy, first of all. That survival in itself is a mindset. It's not a guarantee. There's no guarantee that you're going to go out and build a tent or build a shelter or build something like that and stay dry. There's no guarantee that you're going to carry fishing line with you and catch fish. There's no guarantees. So survival is not a guarantee. It is a mindset. The will to survive and the fear of death are not the same things. There's been many people who feared death but gave up in a survival situation and just didn't make it. Now that philosophy or that mindset, that brings me to talk about something that's usually misconstrued as arrogancy, especially 18, 19-year-old Marines. You look at those guys and you think, well, they're so arrogant and they're so cocky. Well, perhaps that's true for a guy 18, 19, 20 years old. But usually they grow into a mature Marine, and those guys understand that the skill set that they've been taught is to push their standard very high for as far as survival is concerned. You never want to go into the situation thinking, well, I might not win. If you're going to have to get in the battle anyway, you may as well face it with the attitude that I am going to be the winner. Any Marine can be beat up in a fist fight. Any Marine can be outgunned in a gunfight. Any Marine can have the elements overcome him and defeat him. Well, the mindset, though, is supposed to be, I can win. I'm not going to go into this with the attitude that I'm going to fail. If you're going to get into the situation, if you're going to get into the fist fight or the gunfight or the survival situation, you may as well go in without the fear of losing. If you lose, you lose. But I'm going to do my very best to win. I'm going to be giving it everything I've got to come out of this thing on top. And that is an attitude that's hard to beat. It's hard to beat by bullets. It's hard to beat by snow. It's hard to beat by a lack of food. I can do this. That is a survival mindset. It's not arrogancy. It's optimism, and if you don't have it, that's one thing you need to train in before you get into a survival situation of the extreme kind.